it's Elizabeth Wales. I'm a mom, I'm a health educator, and most importantly, through struggles of my own, I found solutions I'm excited to share with you. And today with me, talking about motivation and how to really change and break old habits that we want to get rid of, is the amazing Dr. DeSesa from Back to Health Chiropractic. Dr. DeSesa has been in chiropractic practice for over 20 years. He's a father of 3, and we've interviewed him a couple of times, and I know you guys love to hear from him. And I'm just going to let you guys know really quick, if you are in the Southern California area and you are suffering from any back pain or even headaches, the adjustments that Dr. DeSesa can help you with are just amazing. So you've got to check him out. But let's go ahead and move on to our topic today. Today we are going to be talking about breaking habits and having the motivation to change where we get kind of stuck in that same old behavior rut. And Dr. DeSesa is going to share with us some strategies that he's found effective, and I'm super excited to hear about it. So Dr. DeSesa, can you tell us first, maybe how did you start using this strategy, and what is this strategy?
Well, it really comes out of changing a behavior or a way you're doing something. All of us have habits we'd like to give up. All of us have things we'd like to start or do to get motivated in some way. And really, to be honest, I'm not like a big fan of motivation, because motivation seems so sometimes short term and like, oh, you just got to get motivated to get there. I think we sometimes that even has a negative anchor. Since we're talking about it, people hear the word motivation, they just shut down. Like, oh, you know what? I've tried, I've done. I'm just not motivated, and it's something that people fall back on when they really. When they've given up on trying to make changes. They've done it before and they've tried to get motivated, and then they've kind of given up. So I'm not even a big fan of using the word motivation. I'm more a fan of inspiration, because when we're inspired, we can accomplish so much more. And that's a matter of finding something that inspires us. And listen, if it doesn't inspire you, it's not your thing. Don't shove yourself into a square peg that you don't fit into, because you're trying to do something that just doesn't make sense for you. And that's probably the biggest thing. Like, it really comes down to the question is why do I want this, or what is the goal that I'm trying to achieve with this? And sometimes we find there's a circuitous route to get there. It's just a matter of dialing in the best way to do it that is most inspiring to us to get there. So let's start with that. Let's kill motivation right now. I'm not a big fan of it. Let's just talk about what inspires us.
It's so true. Lots of times people will set a goal and they'll be all motivated, say for New Year's resolutions. A lot of people are going to start thinking about their New Year's resolutions and making their New Year's resolutions very soon. And when we don't achieve the New Year resolutions, and unfortunately the statistics say most people don't, what we have taught ourselves, instead of achieving a better lifestyle, is that we can break a promise to ourselves. And that's really detrimental, and that we are training ourselves that we can't, and that's influencing our self-concept. So yeah, just getting hyped up of I'm gonna lose the weight this year and getting all excited on New Year's Day is oftentimes not enough for people. So what can we do about that?
Yeah, in fact, if you look at the statistics, most New Year's resolutions last on average about 3 weeks, 21 days into it, and then people are done. They've forgotten about it. They've connected with that part of them that says, I just can't do it. I tried. Or either they lost a bunch of weight, and then, who knows what happens. It's the Super Bowl. It's Valentine's Day. It's something. And then the old habits kind of kick back in again. So I am a firm believer that, they do make pencils with erasers for a reason. You can adjust. You can set your course. And that's the whole thing, is instead of just giving up, realign your goals a little bit and do kind of set something that can keep you motivated, not motivated, but inspired and in the game.
So sometimes maybe someone sets a goal that's too high, like I'm going to lose 20 pounds in a week. And when it doesn't happen, they get frustrated. And instead of saying, I give up, I can't do it, they say instead, you know what? I did lose 3 pounds. So realistically, I can look at losing maybe a couple a month, something like this. Is this what you mean, for example?
Right. Isn't it kind of funny that, we tend to be hard on ourselves when we do really well. Like, I could have done more. And then when we don't do well, we tend to be hard on ourselves because we didn't get there. So
That's
there's
true.
a real strange human quality where we tend to like be a little tough on ourselves sometimes instead of embracing the journey and relishing the changes that were made. And listen, as long as the direction is the right way, then you should pat yourself on the back. It may not be, maybe you won't lose 21 pounds in a week, kind of excessive, I would think. But if you lose 2 pounds in a week, hey, that's something to celebrate. Take that time out to reward yourself. And there's another part of the anchor, so I can start with that one right there, is that you should have some kind of a reward in place for the little wins that you do when you're on your way to the big goal. So sometimes, and I'll tell you, like if the goal is to lose weight, then the motivation shouldn't be apple pie, obviously. Don't pick food for
Non-food
motivation.
motivations.
No
For
food
women,
motivation.
yeah, for women, I highly recommend your new sportswear, your new workout outfit. Most women feel good in their new clothes and they want to work out more. What would you recommend as a good non-food reward?
Well, we all have little things that we like to do, and sometimes it's a walk on the beach or on the lake. Sometimes it's sitting in a bookstore, just in your favorite book section and just grab a book and hang out for an hour. Sometimes it's watching a movie that you really like, and you can use these as motivation or that inspiration to get you to that next step, that next level, to keep the game going. In fact, before you start off on any journey of change, I would suggest sitting down and writing out what happens when I get to this goal, what happens when I get to that goal, how will I reward myself? And it could even be throwing 20 bucks in a jar for that outfit that you want to buy, right?
Yeah.
It can be calling a friend that you haven't spoken to in a while. It could be taking some time out to watch a movie or a funny video that you like. So, and the same time, you probably want to put something in there that's going to be a consequence if you don't get to the little steps as
Mm.
well. And that consequence can be putting $20 in a jar. It can be a few extra. If your exercise routine, if you have an exercise routine, then you're going to add on another 20 minutes. Now, I hate to use exercise as punishment, but at the same time, we need to do something to ourselves to keep ourselves accountable. And that's the next big thing about change, is have an accountability partner, somebody that you can answer to. This is why, Elizabeth, you're fantastic as a coach. People can turn to you as their coach and they can go, hey, you know what, I'm having a tough time. Then you'll say that, you know what, that's fine. Let's recalibrate. Let's set that next goal. Let's check in next week and see how you're doing. So
And sometimes people just need to say it and discuss it and recognize that there's a barrier. And then we just have to figure out a way to go around, through, over the barrier. And sometimes when you just have someone, it's called the power of the other. You just have someone rooting for you. That makes all the difference. You're so right. Let's see here. I'm speaking about like the punishment side of things. I did hear of a fitness app. I don't use it myself with my clients, but it forces you to pay like $15 every time you miss a workout. It gets really expensive when you miss workouts. I thought that was kind of brutal, but funny.
Okay. You kind of cut out of it,
Okay.
Elizabeth.
Can you
Unfortunately,
hear
I
me
kind of missed
now?
a bit. Now you're back on. Sorry.
No problem, no problem. It's actually working pretty well today. So yeah, it's some things that we can do to motivate ourselves. Now you're using this word anchoring, and I wonder if you can expand on this a little bit and help people understand more what an anchor is in motivation and self inspiration.
Yeah, anchors are, anytime we deal with anything that has an emotional aspect to it, there's going to be an anchor. The anchor is emotional, and the anchor can be joy. So, you have a pet, you love a pet, you think of your pet, it's, you can't wait to get home and pet your pet, there's a positive in there. Sometimes people anchor on to Brussels sprouts, something negative. They hate Brussels sprouts, they're awful, they can't stand them. They've developed some sort of a relationship with it that has a history, I'm sure. So you can use negative and positive experiences to motivate yourself to make changes and kind of inspire yourself to make those changes that you want to make. So an example might be, I've had over the years many patients come to me wanting to quit. So what I do is I take them through a variety of different steps. Let's say quit smoking, for example. I take them through a variety of different steps to anchor on to smoking something very negative. And one of the things I can think of is, like, if you imagine something like I'm going to get a little gross over here. It's going to be over the top, but the stronger the anchor, the more likely you are to make a change. So it might be something like, I want to quit smoking. Then we're going to anchor something negative to it, and I'll ask, do you have a dog? And they'll go, oh, yeah, I have a dog. Or if I don't have a dog, I said, great, just borrow one. You'll be fine. And then what you're going to do is take the cigarettes and the lighter, and I want you to wait till the dog does their business in the backyard. You know what I mean? And then you're going to go over to the business. And if it's on a hot day when it's really steamy, it really works even better. As long as you get the full experience of the aroma and the visual. And then what you'll do is you'll light the cigarette like you would normally, like you don't smoke it, but just light it and then take the butt end of it and put it right in the dog's business.
Oh my gosh!
And don't flinch, don't back away. Take it all in, just smell it, look at the pack, look at the cigarette, just be in that moment. And I tell you what, that kind of an anchor works. I've had great success.
Oh my gosh. Right? Absolutely. I mean, think about, let's say you're eating junk food and now you have to eat that next to some dog mess, you know.
Right.
Tips from Dr. DeSesa. Dr. DeSesa has some great tips. They work.
My anchor when it comes to food is I'll tell people, you know, if you have a food habit that you want to break, like let's say I put your favorite food in front of you, you know it's not good for you, you know it's a problem. Let's say like donuts, because so many people love donuts. Like you can see why they taste really good, right? And we talked about why it's not a healthy thing to eat before. Right. Well, if you really want like an experience and you're not happy with where you are with how you look or how you feel, I would recommend stripping down completely naked and slowly eating the donut in front of a full view mirror. Now, for some people, this is enough to be like, oh, okay, I got it. And sometimes you don't even have to do it, just the thought, right? Sometimes you don't have to, like the whole thing with the dog business, like if you think that through enough times, you don't even need to like actually do it, because you get the full effect with it in your mind, because our minds are very powerful, right?
Yeah. Like for example, I think it was my 7-year-old birthday. I asked for mint chocolate chip ice cream, and no one was watching how much I was eating, and I ate way too much and I vomited. I couldn't eat the mint chocolate chip ice cream for about 2 years after that. That was a really strong anchor.
Exactly, a great example. How many times we give up on foods because we had something to eat, and then maybe it was the food, maybe it was something else, and then we let it loose, and that experience of like, I'm never gonna touch that. I don't even go near. I can't smell it. I can't be right. So that's a great example of an anchor. And along the same way too, because that's a great example you brought up, but there's the negative anchors are only going to motivate us or inspire us so long, and then it becomes more of a challenge. How many times have I heard, you know, as a runner, when people come up and they say, oh, you know what, I don't like to run, but I'm out here running anyway, and I'll ask, well, why are you doing it? Well, because, you know, I had to lose weight, or I don't want a second heart attack. And I go, great. And I go, when you get up in the morning, how do you feel about it? I hate it. I hate getting out there. I hate running. I hate doing it, but I have to do it. Well, okay, that'll take you a while. I know many people that's gotten them to that point where they're actively doing it, but I don't like doing things I hate doing. I like doing things that are going to challenge me. They're going to bring me to another level of where I am, and whether it's spiritual or emotional or physical, we have to have that challenge. So that's another part of the anchor that you can use. Now you've got to anchor something positive onto it. When I wake up in the morning, it's sometimes a battle of the bed. I'll be honest, we've all been there. Like, who wants to get out of the warm, cozy, comfortable bed, go outside where it's 30 degrees and go run? I mean, but I know when I'm done, the reward of how I feel will outweigh sleeping in. And I know that's the battle that I have. And sometimes it's a couple seconds. I go, yep, I got to get up. And sometimes it's a minute, like, okay, the bed's really comfortable. It is really cold. I didn't put the right clothes out, whatever it is. But then eventually I'm like, okay, I'm just going to get up and do it. So, and I always feel great afterwards. I always feel great. I'm so grateful that I went out for my run. And that's another anchor.
That's amazing. And, you know, there's a progression in fitness. I always say that usually people start pursuing fitness because they don't like something, but then they start to feel good and then they become an addict. Now, you have described an addict's level of fitness training where you know how good it feels and it's a high. I totally get it. But there's a lot of people who don't experience that high because they're still on step 1, step 2, or they're just starting to begin. Are there some other positive anchors that you could recommend, like maybe for the walk or the jog, the run? What other things would you find to be a positive anchor that people can try out?
Well, I think that most people, when they've done any kind of running for any extensive period, really do understand that there is a point you get to when you're in nature and it just feels
Mm.
good. I mean, if you're hating it the whole time, the chances you're going to be successful with it are pretty minimal. There's usually something at some point along your run where you see a dog or a bird fly by or the sun's coming up or whatever it is, and you just kind of go, wow, this is kind of nice. Right. And that's where you really want to catch those little moments and you want to like just expand on them a bit in your consciousness.
I
Um,
like
I
that. Yeah.
I always like that time just to be again like the gratitude is a big thing, like I'm running and I'm just grateful to God, or whatever that is, that moment of like this is what, and the more of those moments that you have when you're running, the better the experience is going to be overall. Listen, when I'm plowing up a hill and I'm pushing it hard and I'm breathing hard and I don't like the hill and I know that the hill's not going to be done for a while, it's not exactly
Mm.
that best moment, but I know when I get to the other side of the hill, there's the downhill, and that's the fun part, right?
That's
So,
the fun part.
yeah, so being present time consciousness is really big on on having that connection with enjoying what you're doing at the moment, and then creating that positive anchor too.
Yeah, you mentioned in our last interview that you don't recommend the treadmill because there isn't a lot of positive things to anchor for you. Maybe other people have found things. I know that when I did a lot of bike riding, I had a certain music playlist, and I can remember how amazing it felt to be listening to the music, and I would get in the zone, and
Right.
that was a positive anchor because once I got in that zone, it felt really good. Absolutely. So the nature, maybe some music, the feeling afterward. Of course, you're achieving your health and fitness goal. You're getting stronger. These are all really good ways to stay motivated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then also, when you get to that point, like when it comes to running, again, my favorite thing, I encourage people, like if you decide that you want to get involved with running and you want to make changes and you really want to make it something that's a part of your consciousness and your what you're doing, then get a race. Buy into a race. These days, there's a lot of virtual races. You get medals. When things get back to whatever the new normal is going to be, then get involved with the race because that will, like, oh yeah, I've got to run. I got this race coming up in a couple months, and I can do that thing that also helps get you there too.
Yeah, community is incredible for sure. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to add to the motivation and anchoring principles?
I think probably the most important thing is just having that good reward system in place too. And anything that you want to make a change in life, you've got to just present it in a positive way to yourself. Change can be hard. Listen, if it wasn't hard, then everyone would do it, right? And we would accomplish everything we want to accomplish. So change can be hard. We do have to be a little easier on ourselves when we're not as successful. We do
It's
have
true.
to let go and forgive. Like, oh, I didn't get this done. That's okay. Tomorrow's a new day. Try it again. Don't ever give up. Remember, pencils have erasers for a reason. So keep at it. That's my big recommendation.
I love it. Such great tips. And yep, you could borrow someone's dog if you need some help to stop smoking. That was a really good one. Really quick, I mentioned maybe you want to lose some weight for your New Year's resolution. And Dr. DeSesa and I use a fantastic complete nutrition system that can really help you achieve those goals. There's lives transformed with our complete nutrition system all the time, and it helps you to stay balanced, to keep your nutrition clean. It's delicious, and you can make your meals within just a couple of minutes. This here is one of our energy drinks. It's called a Bia. And Dr. DeSesa, do you swear by these?
I love them. They're my new favorite. I absolutely love them. For people who know me, I pretty much work nonstop from the time my feet hit the floor until I'm done at the end of the day. And I used to rely on like no names, but let's call it Blue Cow, something like that. And but these are so much better. I like them a lot better. They feel awesome. They're amazing. Now I'm hooked. I have them in the afternoons, a few days a week, and then also little energy drinks, and also yeah, the energy shot e-shots. Those are great too. I love those. And listen, it's not just about the weight loss. I think this is a great program for weight loss too. But I'm an athlete, and I use it for my performance, and I have noticed a difference in my recovery and getting a little bit faster. So there's a lot of great stuff out there to help me get that next level.
Awesome, awesome. And you have some other goals. Do you want to share at all about your progress on any of those other goals?
Well, I'm starting to look a little bit more like Lou Ferrigno. I'm just
Woo! Yeah.
I've always been a pretty skinny guy, but now I'm working on having more body tone, muscle tone. So that's a new goal. And then getting back into running again. I just ran a half marathon, and I'm setting my sights on the marathon pretty soon too. So yeah, getting back on track with that fun stuff. I love it.
That's amazing. So really, in order to be healthy, whether it's weight loss or trying to become stronger, the body needs the same thing. It needs clean, it needs balance, and it needs consistent, this kind of nutrition. So if you have questions, message me or Dr. DeSesa. We'd be happy to answer your questions. All we do is help you set up a wholesale account so that way you can save money. And yeah, the bee is made out of green tea, so you're getting like these antioxidants. It has adaptogens, which are herbs to keep our stress level low. And same with me, like as a single mom, I'm going, and I swear by these, I really do. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, please share. We want to bring as much value to as many people as we can. And if you have any questions about what we talked today about motivation or anchoring, then we would be excited to hear from you. Leave a comment, send us a message. Well, thanks again for watching, guys. I hope you have a wonderful day and a lifestyle to thrive. Goodbye.